got my laptop on, and I feel alright. I got a few joints to roll, and my munch is made. Got my headphones on, and I'm closing the door, don't disturb me. It's time to slam up song. I say some things about the shitty world that we're living in. The boys at Raconteurs News. I say raconteurs, say raconteurs, I say raconteurs news, raconteurs news, raconteurs news, raconteurs news, raconteurs news. Oh yeah. And good evening, welcome to Raconteurs News in colour. Although it don't look like it on my feed tonight, my camera seems to be a bit yellowy, a bit sepia. But yes, we are definitely in colour here on Raconteurs News. It is the 11th of December 2018. And that was it's been an awesome day as well. I've had my last physio session of this year, so now this is the most incredible thing. I don't have any more medical appointments at all this year. I am all free, so all the rest of it I can just relax a little bit and probably let myself go and overdo it over Christmas and probably end up back in hospital. But that's the way it goes. Anyway, good evening to everybody who's joined us in the chat room. Jerry, son of Mick, is there. Super Leeds, Lynn Anderson, Johnny Jam Shovels in there as well. Good evening to you all, everybody who's in the chat room. Thanks for your continued support. And if you don't mind, just clicking a little bit of a like, just giving us a little bit of a like, and gives us a warm feeling inside, a bit of a Christmas present, if you will. My camera seems to have gone back to some sort of normality. Anyway, we've got a great show as usual. I've got my esteemed co-host, comrade, Dobry večer, tovarищ Webster. Good evening, mate.
Good evening indeed. How's things, pal?
Well, it's okay. I'm sort of hanging to the left today.
Yeah?
A little bit, yeah.
Which is it? Which is it?
Well,
I don't know if it was Adolf hanging to the left or something else.
Yeah, I had a bit of a problem with one of my testicles. I don't know whether it's normal for one of your testicles to be bigger than the other two. So perhaps somebody could enlighten me on that.
Man of the same size, I wouldn't know.
Anyway, our guest tonight has been booked by Webby, who's responsible. We've had him on Raconteurs News before. A great guy, lives up in Hull, a political guy. Webby, give an introduction to our guest tonight.
I mean, Colin can introduce himself because of the work that he's done. He's not just talking about doing stuff. He's actually trying to get out there in his community and get other people involved. Again, I just now I've started to try and generate a little bit of interest, which is, it's like trying to start a fire in the rain at times. You're just trying to spread a little bit of information here and there. Some people are open to it. Other people get it but don't know what to do about it. But the thing is, people need to at least start opening a dialogue and not being scared to do it. And because I'm starting to look into do that, I just thought, after meeting Colin at the common law court hearings, I thought we'd get him on to see where he's up to over there, what aspects he's looking at to try and get more messages out, and also because he's been following the common law courts, see that is. So, Colin, without further ado, mate, fill us in.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno indeed.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy
those that
Friday.
believe in it and those that don't and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just a different day, really. Same as you, mate. Same as everybody else out there. You John Patsons, Andy Devines, Ved Chowdhury's, Tom Crawford's, everybody. The list goes on. Robert Spoul. I've most probably missed loads off here, and all these people that are basically exposing the system for what it is, for how bad it is. But it's always negative stuff, isn't it? Everything is knacking negative, and it's boring, and it's ridiculous, and it's unbelievable all at the same time. And when you talk to people and so it's trying to explain what's going on, they all know. Everybody knows. The worst bit about it, Paul, is everybody knows how bad things are, how corrupt things are, and that lot. And no matter who you ask, you can ask anybody on the streets, and I've done it for years now. Do you trust your councils, police, courts, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on. And only one person in all my time of asking this has turned around and said, yes, I do. Now that's saying something, isn't it? That's saying, well, I was talking to her today. She's doing all stuff in Hull about mental health and stuff, and basically she's telling me the side that the council aren't doing. And I'm going, but why aren't these people doing what they're supposed to be doing? What's going on? And she was the same, yeah. And I just, you're scratching your head. I mean, I'm stood in McDonald's car park, scratching my head, trying to work out why a normal guy like me has been subjected to the police, subjected to the courts, subjected to the council's fiddling, and I'm only a normal guy. I'm not clever or out like that. I'm not. Before this, I wasn't politically minded or anything. And I'm just scratching my head that all this money that goes missing, it infuriates me. It rips me to pieces because I'm thinking there's trillions and trillions in 788 Finchley Road. Have you heard about that, Paul?
Yeah, we've had Gordon on a few times, and the amount of money in shell companies that are going through that. Yeah. It's quite obvious what is happening, but as you were saying, people know there's something going on, but you also mentioned about everything being negative. Do you know what, Colin? It's got to be negative enough that people's bubbles are punctured, because until that happens, people genuinely will not do anything. Everybody's scared. They know there's something wrong, but they don't know what to do.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
It is when you've got Pied Pipers turning up left, right, and centre saying, "Hey, I think we should go this way," and people are saying, "Yeah, that's the way." Anybody putting faith into one man or one party or one movement, you're missing what is going on. You're missing something.
Yeah, I completely concur. But there again, I'm saying that in the respect of, well, look at this, and I'm only one man saying it. I'm only one man doing it. So effectively, I'm joining the gang of misfits, morons, whatever I want to call them, the people that are actually conning everybody, because that's all it is. It's everything. Like I said to Jenny today, I said everything's just a con. Everything. Money's a con.
But we give it the credence, don't we, Colin? We give that con that credence. People don't understand how they're doing that. I've just seen an article posted today on Zero Hedge that they're telling the Australians to prepare for a severe collapse, a mortgage collapse. Yeah. And people don't think it'll happen. We saw it 10 years ago in Ireland. What I learned from the Irish girls and lads over there, they were touching on stuff that is really relevant right now. And that was 10 years ago, because they were subject to it. When your feet are held to the fire, you either put up that fight, you either say that you can't do this, or you give in. And those people did not give in yet. The police helped them, as we do. The police came intimidated. The police even helped. The police have been beating people up. But we've had the tactical aid unit in Manchester red keying doors on behalf of bailiffs. that has gone completely out of control, and people know that that's wrong. Yet they'll say, "Well, they should have paid the mortgage."
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know,
You can't win.
no.
No one can win. That's a problem. And you get to a stage where I've got to. I mean, like I said, the last I was talking to today, she said, "Oh, I've started to have police at my door at 10 o'clock at night, etc., etc." And I said, "Look, what you got to do is you got to start putting in the complaints. They're not going to go anywhere. The complaints aren't going to go anywhere, but the police do back off when you start putting in a load of complaints." I said, "But you're a marked person. It's weird. It's really strange because you're not doing anything illegal. You're not doing anything wrong. And yet you're in the predicament of speaking out against the authority, speaking out against the system, and both are basically having a go at you."
Yeah, they've got to learn that jurisdictional joke, though. There's a jurisdictional joke in it because they've flicked us all and directed us all to corporations, to business, to commerce. So that means every time we go, we want to participate in their game, we want to play by their rules, but we don't know how to act in it. And the debtor's title is being given all the debt. And what you're basically saying is, yes, that's me. And they're just handing you a document saying, must give us this. And all the education system and our parents tell us that that is life. And you've come to a conclusion now where the French have gone, wow, how much more do we take of this? Now, me and Jason discussed this last night. And again, I agree with Jason when he was saying about this, let's have the hope of the potential of what this is and not be too skeptical to just think that everything that comes along can be co-opted. But it's ripe at the minute. The mainstream media are trying to not talk about it whatsoever. If they're not talking about it, there's something in it. And that's where people have got to be careful. There's so many things that they're now talking about what they're upset about. And they're exactly the same things as what is happening here. But where is the outcry? Because legally protesting, again, Rob Bernard spelled it out really well, where it's like being treated like a child. You've got an option to dislike it, but it's still coming.
Yeah,
you can protest. The fact that you apply for a license to protest tells you who's in control. That is not a rejection. You're not going to. It clearly makes sense to say that they're allowing you to do it. You can stamp your feet, but that doesn't mean you can go and smash things up. That's completely different jurisdiction and criminal damage.
Yeah,
and that's where people need to find themselves.
There's a lot of people locked up for doing nothing. I nearly got to that stage, obviously.
Yeah.
And it was a case of, right, don't want to go down this road where I get locked away, lose my liberty, lose my life, and have to come out and try and sort shit out. No, I didn't want to go down that road.
Why should you destroy your life to prove a point to other people anyway? Other people can see this.
Yeah, it's you hear it all the time. Oh, why don't you do this? You should do that. And you go out and do it. Oh, no, I can't do it. Well, why do you expect me to then? I mean, all I've done is expose everything they've done. I've got a counsellor now on my Twitter telling me that common law document that I've made him basically say, right, we've got this, saying that council tax is a fraud. I put it on my Twitter, and he's telling me, no, that's all. That's for delusional people, that. And you're like, right, so you're saying that the other laws are not delusional. Oh no, they're all right. That's how things are. These people that are doing this don't even know themselves what they're doing. They don't even know themselves what they're talking about. And when you start challenging them, they ain't got a clue. They just run off, cry wolf.
I've seen it firsthand with court clerks saying that they've already sorted this out. And I said, you asked them, oh, you understand bills of exchange, negotiable instruments. I'm not here to answer your questions. There is no point me ever again attending that court because all they do is cause me violence. They damage me. That's all they've ever done because of either incompetence or straightforward criminality. You can't have it any other way. You're either completely incompetent or you're completely coherent and you're doing it intentionally to take things off people.
Oh, they know what they're doing because they know. That's why that many people that's questioned them when they get looked at the contempt of court, all this bullshit, and you're like, hang on a minute. Not everything can be contempt of court. You know, you know, like you said, you'll know yourself when you go into these places, you are going to come out damaged.
But the contempt of court, administratively, you can't be in contempt. It's business negotiations. This is what I'm negotiating. That's what I'm negotiating. Who's got the right evidence here? I'm bringing a remedy. I'm not bringing controversy. I'm bringing a remedy. And you're helping them ignore that remedy because they refuse to engage. That is not just a breach of the bills of exchange. That is conspiracy. Two parties conspiring to take something from somebody else. You can't get away from this anymore. You can put as much flowery legalese and say driver doesn't mean this and that doesn't mean this, and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's straightforward theft and criminality. And be it, you know, given the advantage, be it with full knowledge or without, that is what they're participating in. And you can't keep turning around saying they were following rules or they were following orders. We've been down this path.
Yeah, that's a joke, isn't it? We had that with the Nazis. It's all it is just history repeating itself. And for some unknown reason, again, everyone's complicit in it. Everyone knows, no matter who you speak to, no matter... Honestly, you could go to the outer stretches of flipping Snowdonia and ask people, and they still say the same thing. How are these people in control then? How are they in control when we all know that they are doing nothing but everything illegal? I'm like I said, I'm scratching my head at McDonald's, and I'm like, I just don't understand. And I class myself as a thick twat, mate. I'm so like, I'm not clever. I'm not clever at all. And I'm so like, if I'm seeing this, there's millions of people seeing this. Why isn't things changing? And it's just lunacy, total. And these people that are doing it know what they're doing. As I've said before, when that, Ian Anderson said to me on the phone, we're allowed to fiddle. We're allowed to cheat. I mean, having the gall to say that, I could have been recording that. And obviously, I wasn't, because at that point, that was green light. But I could have been recording that, you know, and I could have really had him over a barrel. But again, I'm like, I think back to it.
They've got too big for the boots, Colin, because it's the same with all these pissant solicitors that are in these little arse county courts. They think the God's in there.
Yeah.
And they are completely committing blatant criminality and fraud. The problem is they've made it so easy for themselves because we are always complicit by going to a solicitor because people tell us that that's life, that's what we must do. And we get ourselves into a system that is designed to take everything from us with full consent, whether we know it or not. Now, that's where do you stop with the charges with that? It just goes on and on and on.
It's infinity, isn't it?
Yeah, and these people have got to realise that has to come to an end. But what the people at the higher up the chain are going to do when the wolves come, then they'll cut the rope underneath them and they'll let all these pissant solicitors and these pissant judges at the lower echelons, the ones who are participating in as much criminality as they possibly can, because they want to climb that ladder. They know where they want to go. The good thing is, Colin, in my experience, there are still good people, judges, barristers, solicitors in the system.
I ain't found none yet. I ain't found none.
believe me, the ones I'm in my experience, they are few and far between. But I'm speaking to people who are talking and working with some people that are trying to get, because I know for a fact we had one case where a judge actually put in writing that he wanted to keep his eye on this case because this is very interesting. I've not had a case like this for a long time. This is going to make me think. Really?
Bollocks. These people are rats leaving the sinking ship.
No, mate, we did.
Yeah, all these people are doing is sort of like, oh, shit, these people have found out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on their side. And that's all that is. Either way, these people that do things like that, and there was one in Sunderland a couple of months back with Emma, not Emma Ward, sorry, something to do with Sunderland Council. Emma Ward was at it or something at the court case, sorry. And the judge said, it's all illegal. Well, these people that know this, the first thing they should do is, right, I know it's illegal, and I'm a judge. I mean, if I was in their shoes, and I was a judge, and I knew it was illegal, the first thing I'd do is shut all the courts down in my area. That's the first thing I'd do.
Courts are bankrupt. They're being operated under bankruptcy.
Oh, yeah, from 2008.
Yeah,
from 2008.
The management at the minute.
Yeah.
We had an interesting case, Colin. I don't know if you come across this, but we had an interesting case where I was contacted about a social security number that this person's son had generated. And I went, do you mean national insurance? And they said, no, we give the national insurance. It's a social security number. And because those bonds are now going through Wall Street, those bonds, instead of generating national insurance numbers here, that national insurance number now is linked to a social security number. So the bond is also on Wall Street as well.
Yeah.
So everything's been sold out from this country.
Yeah, it's been sold out years, 20, 30 years ago.
All the banks are bankrupt. All the courts, the banks.
I know. But yeah, these people that jump on the bandwagon, like the odd MP that's turned around and said, oh, yeah, I'll sort it out, and then you never see them again. Because they know, oh, bollocks, I am bothering. I'm going to look like I'm bothering. I'm going to look like I'm doing stuff. I'm going to look like it. I'll say the right things, because then when the shit hits the fan, either way, I'm all right. I'm all right as I am. Plus, when the shit hits the fan, I'm all right, because I can say, well, I knew and I was going to sort it out. What a lot of frigging bullshit. It could sort everything out in 10 minutes. No problem whatsoever. Anybody could. And it'd just be a case of starting of, right, this is shut down. George Gretton had whole city council, whole courts, Humberside police, all shut down. Everything was shut down because they had them by the legal bollocks of there was breaking that many laws. And it's every single council out there, but this was just Hull City Council. And to end up in London Magistrates Court a couple of months later, a year or so later, with all the red tape that they threw at him and all this that, and the other shite, they basically just wanted to keep more red tape, like they did with Ed Chowdhury for about 10, 12 years. More red tape. Right, let's see what we can get off here. Let's see. If it hadn't gone tits up by then what we'll do is we'll take their house off them or whichever. And that's how they play it. The rats leaving the sinking ship. They all know the systems.
I've got a mate who's got quite a bit of equity in property, and through divorce, there's two solicitors they're just killing him. They're just going to steal everything through equity because there's so much argument, there's so much controversy in the divorce. They're just going to make a killing. And
guess who caused the controversy?
It's so hard for that.
Guess who causes the controversy?
They do.
Exactly.
They love it. The more argument, the more money they make. That's what they want, argument, not remedy. Yeah. That's why they're not hearing us. When we bring remedy, they can't hear that, because if that's heard in a public setting, then everybody's going to do it. So
it's not a case of the cat hear you, it's a case of the don't want to hear you. Like you said, you don't turn up at court. Last time I turned up at court was basically with George Gretton, And I said, look, I'm bringing my legal guy with me. I get a phone call from the court saying, you're bringing somebody with you. This is people that aren't supposed to give legal advice, I remember. I'm going to bring George Gretton. Oh, you're not allowed. What do you mean I'm not allowed? That's my legal representation. Well, yeah, but he's not a fully qualified solicitor. That's irrelevant. I'm bringing my legal representation to court.
It's a business negotiations. If I can negotiate business, I should be heard.
Yeah. And they was panicking like hell because I won't go to a solicitor. At one point, I have been in touch with every solicitor and barrister in Hull and said to them, I'll pay you up front, take my case on. No, don't want to know. Don't want to know. Not one of them.
I spoke with Michelle Young, and her case is very interesting. When I was talking to her on the phone, to think that she has recovered the pathways and found assets that she was informed they were bankrupt, they'd all gone missing. She found all the live assets worth 800 billion, and nobody in London will represent her. Nobody in London will represent her because the banks that are involved want all that equity. They want 8 billion. Bloody hell.
Yeah, we've got no chance. We're just fishing in the little pond we are.
That's why it's got to come about. Something's got to give, Colin. But again, until
I've been saying it for 10 years, mate, and I've been green as
me too, mate.
Green at the start of it 10 years ago.
Yeah, can I just I've not, you two are just going at it, and that's great. It's just exactly what people want to listen to. I just want to say it's 7 on Tuesday night. You're listening to Raconteurs News. Our guest is Colin Worrall. Paul Webster's there. Listen, we've got people in the chat room, and what they want to know is that a bed you're on, laid on at the moment, Colin? And if so, is it inclined?
Yes, and yes.
Oh, excellent. There you go. I just thought I'd ask.
Yes, I remember. Oh, it'll be a couple of years ago. No, it'll be about a year ago, and was on about being up about 6 inches makes you sleep better. So
you heard it here probably because
it was
inclined bed therapy advocate.
That's right. Yeah, the wife loves 6 inches, so she's happy as fuck.
Well, listen, I'll let you get on with it. We're nearly at half past, and we've not once had the bills of exchange mentioned until I just did it then. So it's a big and massive.
Yeah, well, I've already mentioned it, mate. You missed it.
All right.
Did we not wake you up on the way through it?
That's probably what happened. I've probably been like hypnotized myself to go to sleep as soon as I hear it.
What's your input anyway, Jason? What's your input on this? Because you've got a council. How do you find Sheffield Council?
Well, it's like anything else. Councils, government, local government, central government. They just don't do it. They just do what the fuck they want. Whatever they want, whatever ludicrous idea that they've got, they will chuck millions and millions of pounds at you. They'll tell you that they can't fill potholes in road. They'll tell you that you can't lower your curb on your own. I mean, here my missus has got a drive, and she paid to have the curb lowered, and the council came and said, "Oh, you can't do that. You've got to have it done by us." And so she had to then have it done by the council at a cost of about 1,500 quid in end. And that's because councils, and that's what they're there for, you see. We think they're there under the guise that they're there to help you, but they're not. It's just a gravy train. It's been taken over. It's like everything else. The more people, the more power people get, and the more that we take it, then the more piss they take, and that's all they're doing. Look at what's going on with trees in Sheffield. Nobody wants the tree. Nobody wants these trees felling, these healthy trees. Nobody. But they're just doing it. And you're having pensioners arrested. You're having protests and people go to prison. There were 3 that went to prison.
Yeah.
That went to prison for protesting for fat trees.
Did they not have a licence?
Well, what, to go to prison? I don't think you need a license to go to prison.
To protest.
No, if it's not prisons, are probably only place you don't need a license or any qualifications, because I mean, three middle-aged guys, you know, that want to do the right thing for the community are protesting because these trees are being cut down for no reason. What the council do? They just steamroller over them. It happens everywhere in every walk of life. Like you were saying, Colin, everything's just a fucking joke. It's just greed. It's just how much money can we extract out of you for this thing? And it's now encroached into your home as well, because you've got the internet and you can be spending money and buying things and doing things and getting done for things. You know, when you're sat in your own home, you can you can get a fine written something on Twitter or Facebook or something, you know, or what they're talking about, he or she is going to become illegal to say he or she. So that will be, imagine how many people are going to be getting automated fines when they've written something on Facebook, you know, or on anything they've written anywhere, the word he or she, you know, and it'll be automated. And it'll be, I was watching a video last night, I think. It just popped up and I thought, I'll have a look at this. And it was one of these guys, and he says, he were a time traveller. I listened to him. It sounded like shit to me. But he did say one good point. He said that in the future, where he came from, justice and government was 90% AI. So there was 90% of artificial intelligence that are governing people, and the justice system was also 90% artificial intelligence.
It's right there. We're at that stage now, because everything that you get through is automated. Every letter you get from council is automated. So he's right. It must have been from this time frame.
From here, yeah. But I just thought that's where we're going, in it, where everything's automated. There's no, you can't, you like Webby said, you know, at the moment when you ask them questions, they just blank you, and
it's all changed now.
Push and push. They will use force against you. Somebody else will do the force, obviously, because they're pussies. But they will use force.
No, it's all changed now. It's all changed now. Now, when you ring them up and say, "Can you give me the housing manager's name?" No, you have to FOI it. You have to FOI it.
They're not going to incriminate themselves any further, you know.
No, because they've realised that you've got to FOI it. You might lose interest, because that's 20 odd days before they have to reply. I've been on the phone a lot recently with the councils. You cannot. Yeah, so am I. You cannot ring the council up now. It's impossible. They've changed all the numbers. They're doing it for security risk. Now you can't get in touch with them for security risks now. Now, as you'll notice, as everyone else notices, when you get a phone call from the council, it's always a withheld number. They will not put numbers down on the paperwork. They don't put the names down. I got a letter about my council tax stating blah, blah, blah. And at the end of it, it was just a squiggly signature. So I went in. I said, "Who signed that? Well, what do you want to know for?" So I want to know. I want to talk to. Who signed that?
You want to talk to somebody, you weirdo?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
That's it. This is the man frame of them now. Is I am now a security risk.
Domestic terrorist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a paper terrorist. Yeah. Domestic terrorist. I am. And also what was it? When I was sat there asking them a load of questions about it. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. What was it? I asked how many homeless people are on Bransholme, Hull. You have to FOI. You have to FOI that. Why don't you know this? And, you know, you cannot get to talk, because like you said, by so-and-so time in the future, no, we're at that stage now. Everything now is nearly 90% is automated.
Yeah.
Nearly everything you get through, because when the so-called manager rang me back and I said, well, why didn't you put your name on there? Oh, it's automated and, we'll just sign it and blah, blah, blah. It's all done by computer now. So we're already at that stage of 90%, because everything you ask council to do, you get a reply off a computer. You don't get a reply off people anymore. No. Very rarely, anyhow, until you start rattling cages like I do.
But I don't know if you recall, there was an incident involving the council down, I think it was Swindon off the top of my head. The guy's name was called Albert Dryden, and he built a bungalow on land that he said was his, that he claimed he owned.
It was behind the, I think it was you that was telling me at Wigan. Behind the haystack.
No, that was a different one. This guy, he dug a hole so that the height restriction didn't apply to the council's planning permission.
Right.
So he went to the court, and over a period of years, he was in the court saying, look, these are your rules, I'm adhering to it. He said, if you can prove that these are wrong and I'm wrong, I will dismantle that building brick by brick. I put it up brick by brick.
Yeah.
I'll dismantle it. Now, the council were doing the same with him, where they harassed him and harassed him and harassed him. They wouldn't listen to him. And he got to the point where back in the 90s, he had firearms that he'd recommissioned. He was a bit of a buff for firearms. And he walked to the gate to meet the councillor at the gate. And they said, look, we're going to take the edge down if you don't open the gate. And you could just see he looked round and he thought there was nothing else for him to do. And he shot the councillor.
Yeah.
Shot him dead. That was... councils were doing to people. Now, people who have given testimony about him said that he wasn't the most cognitive man that you could meet, but he's tried to process it all and do it the right way. And and I can vouch for it. I know people who tried to set fire to courts because they were taking 700 grand worth of property.
Yeah.
Off them.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I understand the frustration. I don't advocate it, but I can understand that frustration because the court's called down police on me. These situations are very real, and unless you've been involved in that, it touches your life in some way. Because when it touches your life like that, and you know it's wrong, and then you read and you can prove that it's wrong, and they still do it, that gives you time to where you have to go, wow, this is life. There's something not right here, and then
sick.
Yeah, and then you dig a little bit, then you dig a bit more, and then all of a sudden you're down a fucking rabbit hole, and then they're everywhere. And people are calling you nuts. And then 10 years later, those same people will come and sit next to you and say, what do you think about this, Webby?
Yeah.
You know, it's strange how this truth thing does fall.
I told you about that 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've had them say that to me. And I said, but it's not magic.
Yeah,
it's not magic. It's written there. They're talking about it. You know,
it's crazy. I mean, some of the stuff, like I say, I've been quite green, really, thinking that everything's honest and above board. To an extent, you sort of like you go through the system, and the system is broken, and you realise it's broken, and you still can't win, and you're
Yeah, I actually thought, Colin, that, naively, that first few times I went in, because when I wouldn't sign anything, the judge said, oh, I can't do anything with this. Because that judge was right. She couldn't do anything with it. If I'm not participating, I'm not going to solicit her. She has no jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But then because of the equity, it was moved to a different courtroom.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was trying to learn what they were doing with jurisdictions. And little did I know they were going to steal everything through pieces of paper without my signature, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And I've had land registry tell me that it's a paper clearing warehouse. As long as there's a court stamp, they will change that property name like that.
Well,
the question to that woman was, how can you do that if I own the property? And I knew then, at the penny drop then, I do not own the land. I have the property title. And it was the commercial that they were taking off me, because that's where they've got jurisdiction. As long as they keep everything in that jurisdiction, They can do what they want, Colin, as long as it's written in legislation. And then you've got politicians that are helping write this legislation, so-called on our behalf, and they're writing this legislation, and they can tell lies legally.
You see, you're missing this bit out, right? It's not to do with the politicians, because the politicians know jack shit.
Oh, definitely.
The problem is that every single council is employed. So these people are getting paid twice now. Solicitors, barristers. So they're getting paid once from the courts and then once from the council. So they're getting double the bubble money for doing nothing. Well, they're the ones that are actually running our cities. They're the ones that make the decisions, decide, well, yeah, we're going to do this and spend the money on that. And you lot just go ahead and pretend that you know what you're doing and tell them that we're doing this, that, and the other. But this is what we're doing. That's where the bugbear is.
I did find it interesting because the first time round when I was a kid, I wouldn't have ever thought of watching it. But watching it the second time round, yes, Minister.
Oh yeah.
When you realise that the civil service, you know, and then the Prime Minister will say something, and he'll look at him and he'll go, "Really, Prime Minister?" You know, as if, and you think, well, they're laughing at us every step of the way. They're laughing at us.
And that was in the late 70s, wasn't it?
At least early 80s. At least early 80s. Yes, Minister, and then Prime Minister.
So they've been telling us from
forever.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I got this Conservative councillor on Twitter.
Oh, spit when you say that.
Well, it doesn't matter because they're all the same. Because you can say that Full Labour, they're the same. The Lib Dems, they're all the same. Anyhow, this councillor of all Conservative, there's only one. He turned around to me and he started giving me grief. Well, not giving me grief, so I said that I'm a bad loser and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, man, I don't mind losing at anything. I just don't like being fiddled. I said, you know, I can lose everything. I said, I don't mind. I've lost loads of things. I've lost that loads of things. I don't care. This guy, he is a total wazzock, and yet still gets voted in. This is in Hull. This is supposed to be a Labour town. This is where he sits with them. They sit on the same side. Oh, no, they don't sit on... He don't sit with them. They sit on his side. And this is the temperament of these people.
But it shows you how out of touch general people are with politics.
Big time.
They're so out of touch with it.
But the worst bit about it, these are ordinary people at the end of the day. They're actually ordinary people.
Yeah.
And for some unknown reason, the brains have just scattered. And like I said, I've had not a barney with him. I basically told him a few home truths. What did I say to him about the missing money, obviously, and then you never hear of him again. You know what I mean? It's sort of like as though they're getting told, right? Don't talk to him because he's obviously a lunatic.
Andy Burnham's personal assistant kept me away from him for 4 years while he was my MP.
Again, Andy Burnham's been mentioned a few times, hasn't he? He's had with Andy Devine, I think, has been trying to get in touch with that guy again. I think it's him.
He was shadow health secretary at the time.
Yeah.
When I was trying to get in touch with him because I was trying to, I was dealing with utility bills, gas bill then.
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell him, I said, the shadow health minister, shouldn't you be interested that there's constituents in your town that will be deciding this winter to decide to eat or heat?
Yeah.
Would you not be interested in that? I told his personal assistant 3 times at the counter. She kept telling me to keep emailing. I kept emailing. Then the shop was open, then it wasn't open. And, you can't always get there because of work. So I kept ringing and then I get fobbed off. Or, I made a note of it. And then they never get back to you.
No, this is why...
They know if you hold the feet to the fire, they're done. If you hold their feet to the fire and ask them the pertinent questions, they are done with this, Colin.
Yeah, mate. That's why I went to knock on my MP's door. Because I tried everything. Emails, phone calls, going to his surgery, and all of a sudden the surgeries are shut. when they're supposed to be open. And I've tried everything, absolutely everything. In the end, I'm passing his house, right? Knock on his door. Stuff it.
Which you have the implied right to do so.
You have and you haven't, for some unknown reason. For some unknown reason, they get terrified and think you're a terrorist later on down the line. Or as he's said to Yorkshire Television, that an irate man came knocking at my door. I want irate. I was just asking a question. I've embarrassed the full lot because me doing that, you're not allowed to do that. Why aren't you? What are you going to do? What am I going to do? When coppers have come to my house and saying, right, we're going to slap the Pace Act on you, you know how thick I am. I'd say, Ron, sir, I'm not a terrorist. What are you on about Pace Act? I ain't a flipping terrorist. I don't. What the friggin' anyhow, these coppers, yeah, you're right, and buggered off.
That's the great thing about the coppers, because the police will come out with something like that and they actually don't understand the law.
They haven't got a clue.
They don't understand law whatsoever.
No.
When at a warrants event, a policeman put his hands on the back of a warrants officer and pushed him from the public street into the private property. I presented him with Section 26 of the Criminal Courts and Justice Act, and his face hit the floor because his first response was, "They've never taught us this." I said, "Why would they teach you that?" I said, "Because you wouldn't have been as stupid to beat the police and do what you've done." He went, No, I was on the public. I said, "You pushed a man from public onto private, causing alarm, distress to the owner, and now you're helping him force entry to fit a pay-as-you-go meter that he doesn't want." I says, "And you have no idea how much you're facing until I show you Section 26 that says 7 to 14 years custodial, depending on what you've abused your power for." That's what the coppers will be, but it'll take somebody to prosecute.
And try to.
Yeah.
As I've said before,
exactly.
Matt, we are not going to win in their corrupt system. No one can. Yeah. George Gretton, he had whole city council shut down. And I mean, seriously shut down. And Humberside police. People have tried. And because this is why I've tried to, in the past 3-4 months, set up a common law court in Hull.
Yeah.
In the past 4 months, and it's like I'm like knitting fog.
Yes, I know what you mean, mate. I know what you mean.
I'm like doing woodwork with a pencil. I'm so like, there's only so much you can do.
It is. You're right. You're right.
And if these people won't support you, I'll think, hang on a minute, you know.
The thing is, at the end of the day, Colin, do you love your children? Do you love your grandchildren?
Yeah, of course I do.
No, I'm not particularly you, but to these people, do you love them?
I haven't got a clue.
Do you want to leave them in this world where it is going? Because it's very, very sick.
It's really totally sick. I was at dentist, right? I've had to have root canal done to my tooth because one dentist ripped me frigging molar out for no reason whatsoever. So I left him.
It's money, mate. It's money. Yeah. That's why it was
ripped out. Big time. Yeah, big time. Trust me, I know. So I thought, right, I'm not going back there. So I went to this other dentist, told him what the problem was because he'd ripped the wrong tooth out. Not only did he rip the wrong tooth out, the wrong side. So I've literally now still got tooth. Anyhow, goes to this dentist, and this is, like you said, it's all about sodding money because this guy was supposed to be NHS. Now I don't work anymore. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. My body's kaput, so I'm totally buggered now. So I don't work anymore. So everything I get is on NHS now. So anyway, I go to this dentist. I said, yeah, I don't want you to pull my tooth. I said, I don't want any of my teeth pulling. I said, I'm 50-odd year old, for God's sake. I've still got most of my teeth. I've got all my teeth. I said, I've looked after my teeth, really, so I'm quite happy with what I've got. I don't want you to rip them out. Oh, well, the only thing we can do is we can have, all we can do is rip it out. I said, no, why don't you refill it? Oh, no, if you want to do that, it's going to cost you 700 quid. So I'm like, you're taking the piss.
700 quid to put mercury in.
Oh no, I won't have mercury in me. No. I've let.
Oh, you going holistic?
I've got white now. And,
Yeah.
I in the. Don't do mercury at all. I told them bollocks. No chance of mercury. So anyhow, he said, "Oh no, I can't do it." So I said, "Right, stuff you." So I left that one. Went to find another one. Found another one. And I rang him up, like, I said, "Look, do you do NHS?" Yes. So, right, can I make an appointment? Blah, blah, blah. Goes in, sat there with the dentist. Right, what's up? So I was telling him, right, the dentist has ripped a tooth out of that side, the wrong one. And also, I've still got toothache in this side. So, what I want you to do is just deep root for, oh, no, we don't do that. Ah, right, okay. Well, what we're going to do then? Because I don't want you to pull me knacking teeth. Simple as that. I just don't want to. I said, he's pulled that one, and I said, I can't even chew meat now. I said, nuts get stuck in it, so I'm not enjoying my food. And as you can tell, I like my food. I'm one of those. I like to eat and drink. So anyhow, she said, "Oh no, all we can do is refer you to the hospital." So right, do that then. So I go to Leeds Dental Hospital, where they're training dentists. So they're saying the same thing, telling them the problem. Right, what we'll do is, I'm gonna send your dentist a letter, and then come back to us after that. No problem. So they sent a letter to my dentist. This is only 3 or 4 months ago. Sent a letter to my dentist, and the same letter to me, saying, right, deep root canal is tooth. And I was like, hang on a minute, this was going to cost me 700 quid. This guy was telling me it was going to cost 700 quid. So I goes back in, said, right, I've got this letter. Have you got the letter? Oh, no, we haven't got a letter. No. Oh, we've got an email. All right, okay. Read it out. Oh, yeah, we've got to deep root fill your mouth. I thought you couldn't do it. No, we can do it, but we have to be told to be doing it. Now, that would have charged me 700 quid to get that job done that they do on the NHS. Yeah. It's stuff like this that's totally screwing everything up. Because these people, it's not just dentists, it's doctors, the full works. I was in doctors for a reason, obviously.
Though, they used to be cited at one time, especially in the States, but over here as well, because I know that when my dad was a kid, I know that his doctor, who turned out to be my doctor afterwards, because doctors had families, they knew each other by name, first name basis, that type of stuff. And they were designated to give free time. That's why they were well paid. I mean, my doctor lived in a massive house set in its own grounds, Yeah. So these people were compensated because they gave time freely for NHS for nothing. It was the same with surgeons. It was the same with dentists. All that's happened is we've taken our eye off that ball. We've been distracted, and they've attacked the welfare system, saying that we're a drain on it when we're actually the assets of it. We actually gift it. And again, in all the public sector jobs that they say we need to privatise, there's no money. It's a debt-based economy, Colin. You put the nurses in to do the job. You put the firemen in to do the job. The prison officers in to do the job. The police in to do the job. Everything's fine. Given pieces of paper says a promise to pay and participate in the economy. And guess what? All of a sudden, the problems start to get better.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It really isn't.
I know, like I said to you half an hour ago, 3/4 of an hour ago, could sort this out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And all it takes is a level head to do it. Like you said, doctors. Doctors are paid 120 grand a year. Right? I had to be in doctors not for me, for one of my relatives. So I went to doctors, and it was a case of, right, I'm coming in now. No, you can't do that. Look, I'm coming in. I'm bringing this person with me. Simple as that. I'm going to see a doctor today. No, because the doctors are busy. Well, anyhow, I turns up. sits there for an hour. Not one person went into the doctor's room. Then it was a case of, come up, the doctor will see you now. Yeah, they're not busy now. Now, don't forget, all this time I'm sat 20 yards away from the doctor's door.
Yeah.
No one's gone in. No one's gone out for an hour. All right? Yeah. Nothing. All of a sudden, after an hour, the doctor can see you now. So it goes in, says what I had to say. So he said, all right, do this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Go outside and wait while you make the phone call and do this, that, and the other and come back to us. Right. So the person that was, and this is straight up. So I was waiting in the waiting room. Again, I'm looking at the doctor's door now 50 yards away, maybe 50, 70 yards away, something daft like that. So I'm in the same place, in the same building, same big bloody room, looking at the doctor's door and surrounding area for 2 hours while this person was on the phone. For 2 hours, 2 people went in to see the doctor. Now, I don't know if it's the same way you live, but where we live, you have to ring up in the morning if you want to try and get to see the doctor. And usually, if you want to make an appointment, it's a month wait. So 3 hours, I was in there. Only 3 people, including ourselves, saw the doctor. Yet the doctors are under stress. The doctors are overworked. And they're not. No. They're not at all. It's all BS. These people need to start going to these places, sitting there and watching how many people actually go into these doctors. And it's all a lot of bullshit. Every bit of it. Everything's a bloody con. Like I said, they get paid 100 dentists. He actually sent me to a consultant. The second dentist sent me to the consultant because I've acquired a lump where this other dentist had pulled the wrong tooth out. It's left an infection near my ear. So I've acquired a lump. He sends me to a consultant. They do all the scans for cancer, all that lot. Even though I've told them, look, the lumps have come up since the doctor pulled the wrong tooth. Simple as that. So I'm sat there with the consultant, and he said, well, you should be able to get... What did he pull it for? I said, you tell me. I'm not a dentist. I'm telling him where the toothache is. The guy just pulls the wrong bloody tooth and tells me now that they can't deep root fill. Well, every dentist can. What do you mean? Well, and this is what a consultant said. Every dentist does everything on the NHS. Yeah, every single one of them.
Exactly.
Every single one of them. Yet, when you go see a dentist or doctor or whichever, they're trying to push you off into the private bit of, that's going to cost you 700 quid, that is.
Yeah.
It's all a con.
Exactly. We don't know how to change that. We don't know how to act with it. Do you know, I was sat in the doctor's, right?
I've told them, mate.
I was sat in the doctor's because I'm off. I've got an injury at the minute, and I was sat in the doctor's, and this fella come in and he's wheezing. He walks up to the counter and he's stood leaning on the counter and he goes, I'm here for my flu jab, love. She says, oh, right, okay. And as he goes to turn and walk away, he went, oh, I've also got an appointment at the asthma clinic. And I went, oh. And you know, you look at people and you think, we blindly believe these people that say, take this drug, do this, do that. Yeah. Doctors like my old school family doctor weren't there to push drugs. They were there to see if they could help you. Yeah. And in my experience of GPs at that stage, and then it changed at some point because my doctor after that was one of the new wave of holistics. He was starting to use acupuncture. That was very strange for a town like mine. Acupuncture? Sticking needles in you? What are you on about? How's that going to work? Because people weren't open to that. Yeah. And he was a little bit ahead of his time, really, for that surgery. But now, you've got, not particularly mine, thankfully, that, you know, there are some RC doctors that have been there, but the doctor at the minute seems fine, and he's not pushing drugs or anything like that. And do you know what? They always say, rather than them prescribe painkillers, it's cheaper for me to go to Asda and buy them. Yeah. And that's exactly what you're saying about being pushed down that private route all the time.
Well,
so
yeah, right. And it's crazy. When I was in Denver,
guys, sorry.
I'm just going to say it's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. And much as I love sitting in the surgery waiting room, listening to two old blokes talking about, doctor, this and this. Oh, it's terrible. Much as I love that, we need to play a record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute your mics. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to just play Heath. A Heath song, and we'll be back after this. We'll be back for some more with Colin Worrall, Paul Webster, and myself. Let me see if I can do this screen share thing. There we go. Screen share. Okay, share your entire screen. Share and present to everyone. And then we go here with this. All right, back after this. In the other hand, and she took them by surprise, by the throne. I said, my friends, you're not allowed to hold. But they shook it all off with a nervous laugh and call. Next time she said, I'll let those people enjoy. The people who grin themselves to the toss and pause to fail to take a breath. Even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. The people who grin themselves to death, toss and pause to fail to take a breath. Even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. She polished off upon the wall, brought her hands right through her hair. So if the lady took the time to call, all the houses on the street would not compare. She thought it really funny that she hadn't any money, but those she looked up to, they had. Ooh, but they shook it all off with a nervous laugh and cough. And when they took her riches, it was sad. The people who grin themselves to death, toss and pause to fail to take a breath. Even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. The people who grin themselves to death, toss and pause to fail to take a breath. Even when their kids were starving, they all thought the queen was charming. The people who grin
thrill themselves to death. Tell some boys to fail to take a breath. Even when their kids were starving, they all thought the Queen was charming.
And we are, I think, back. There you go. That was Heath. Heath's first one. It's from about 5 years ago that he did that. I hope you enjoyed that. It's the people who grin themselves to death. It's a cover version of an old house, Martin said, from way back. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I did the video to that, by the way. That was my first ever attempt at doing a video. So it weren't much of a video, just lots of stills. Anyway, we are back. It is Raconteurs News in colour, and it is 6 minutes past 8 on the 11th of December 2018, as I prefer to call it. I keep reminding myself. We are sponsored by Bothersome Vaginas and, of course, VI Poo here. And don't forget again, them for Christmas. Christmas is on its way, and we got a great present for you tonight. I think next week we're going to have we're going to try and persuade Andy to come on for one of the shows and to do a bit of a swan song with us, and then we'll leave him alone and let him get on with his life. But we're going to try and do that for next week on one of the shows. We'll have a guest on the other show as well. But the following week, obviously, it's Christmas week, so we're going to take that week off, aren't we, Paul? We're not going to we're not going to do anything over the. There might be something between Christmas and New Year. We might pop up. So just if you.
Let's say, shall we play it by ear, because we haven't got a clue what's going to happen after with what's going on across France, Belgium, and the Netherlands at the minute. So, there might be some emergency broadcasts. You never know.
Yeah, there might just be some emergency broadcast. Hopefully, that is unmuted. You, Colin. Colin Worrall is our guest. Are you? Is your microphone? I've muted. There we go. Oh, you've muted it again. You unmuted it and then you muted it again.
There's a lot of mutes in there.
Is that me now?
That's you now. Yeah. This is great professional stuff. It's a good job it's in colour because we've got no else technical.
It's one of those. It's a finger. It's a finger, right? The finger's doing that. It's working. Yeah.
I've got sausage fingers.
Yeah. Well, I've got fat fingers now. They're massive. Well, yes, I'm back up and running. I think, am I?
Yeah, you sound there.
Lovely job.
Colin, just before we break, you started on about the common law courts. Can you explain for people who, there's a lot of people won't understand the difference between the laws at the minute, but there is still common law. It's still very, very active. It's never ever gone away. It never goes out of date because it's a harm or loss. Everything else is a completely different set of circumstances. So when it's criminal and somebody's caused people loss, this is our remedy. Going into their system, that's not our remedy. This is our remedy. So how did you?
What remedy is that's the only problem.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I understand that as well. So how did you find? Obviously, researched it before, but how did you find out about what John was doing with the common law courts, and where they were all of a sudden it started to sprout up a bit? So if you explain a little bit about it for us.
I can't really explain a lot because personally it's a thing that's I'm not letting take over my life. The problem is we are governed, as you know, But people don't understand that we're governed. They don't understand about the birth certificate. They don't understand what remedy means. I didn't know what remedy meant. When people said it to me, "Oh, you're asking for remedy," I was like, "Oh, I ain't got a clue. You know, what the hell are you on about?" But remedy is, what's the best way to put it in layman's terms? It's for you to get your, not your way across. It's for you to get answers and also to get justice.
Well, the thing is, if you produce remedy, there is no argument, there is no controversy. It's remedy.
Yeah.
But for them to say that that isn't valid and to be able to ignore it and walk away from it, that's
It's
the
crazy.
criminality.
Yeah, it's what they're doing is, because we are governed by consent.
See, people don't understand what that means, Colin.
No matter what we talk about, they won't know what it means, because until you start looking, like you said earlier, until it happens to you, you just carry on with life, don't you? You just sort of carry on to work, you go to shopping.
Life.
You watch Corrie, you watch Emmerdale, you watch Jeremy Kyle, you go out in your car. Life goes on, but until stuff actually happens to you, where you're sat there thinking, "Hang on a minute, hang on, I've had to apply for council for housing benefit." Now, for me to apply to council for housing benefit, I had to, well, basically produce blood out my backside. I had to produce bank statements. I had to produce loss of earnings, work-wise, the full works.
Yeah.
Yet, when I questioned the councils, etc., they said, "Well, you take our word for it." That's when everything escalated. That's when I went into court. The first time I went to, not the first time I went to court, the first time with this, I went to court. The second time was when this guy called George Gretton was with me, my legal advisor. The third time, sorry, that was the third. Very deep. That was the second time. And I knew then the third time was London Magistrates Court I had to go down to. So I knew by the first time that it was all, after coming out after 5 minutes and getting a year's private injunction slapped on me just for asking a question, I realised I wasn't allowed to talk, I wasn't allowed to say anything. They just carried on, bang, that's it, out you go. The second time was when I had my legal advisor with me, and that was a bit more different. But they still wouldn't let him speak. I had to talk. There was going on along the lines of the straw man, all this, that, and the other stuff. And I was like, look, I don't know about. All I know is that, all I've done is ask a question, and that's it. And if asking a question has got me into trouble, that's when they slapped me with another year's private injunction and a fine for questioning their first judgment.
Exactly. I mean,
so you know exactly what the rule. If you go back again, what's going to happen? Hence why you have a carry on and say stuff the system. Even though the system's broke, you realise, like you can't win. It's not justice; it's cooperation now.
It's about getting the information out to people. If there's enough people, yeah, no, exactly. But what I'm saying is, if there's enough people to put claims in, this will stop. But people have got to be put into a position where they've got no other choice.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately is the state of play, because you've got people scared of each other. You've got people that have got division. You've got language barriers. You've got cultural barriers. You've got barriers that are now being given to us that we can't say he or she because we might offend somebody.
Yeah.
Came out of the butty shop today, Colin. I went, "Cheers, ladies. Have a good day." I went, "Oh, hey, I've not upset either of you. You are ladies, aren't you, today?" She says, they burst out laughing. She says, "Yeah, we're ladies today." I said, "Are you sure? If I don't want to offend any non-binaries or anything like that." She says, "Yes, I know it's going bonkers, the world." I says, "At least you're seeing how bonkers this world is going, because there's so many people who, as you say, come home, watch EastEnders, everything and do the same thing every
their
day.
life. That's their life. And for instance, our lass, I mean, I love my wife to pieces. I mean, she's as, you know, she's saying to him, "What are you doing this for? What is the point?" And I'm saying to her, "Well, because it's wrong.
It's right. It's right to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's wrong what they're doing. I can't do this, so why can they?"
Yes.
And she's into, you know, God bless her, you know. I mean, I just leave her to it, and she leaves me to it now because she's realised, look, he ain't going to give up talking about this, doing this. But getting back to the common law thing, and the four laws that is common law, which is the highest in the land.
Yeah.
It's the highest court in the land. Every solicitor knows this. Every barrister knows this. No matter what, and they're all corrupt. They're all twats, for a better word. They're basically all taking the Michael because they know that under statutes, which is what we're all under. This is what the police work by. That's why when you'll have seen it yourself, and this might make people think actually. When they've seen it on YouTube or Facebook, where there's been where a police officer stopped a person on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And if you know what to say to that police officer, that police officer will just go after 5 minutes, say, "Get on your way." And I'm not going to get anywhere. And I'm not going to get anything. Get on your way. But don't you worry. You're driving away. You've got a great big target on your car then. They know that you're one of those that know the system a little bit. Or maybe a lot. When you watch things like that, that should make people think, well, how can that person sit there, say, look, there's my license, there's my insurance, there's all my documents. I think, and this is weird, I personally think this is why they've stopped doing the tax disc and now they've stopped doing the MOT slips and insurance. Because I think that they've done that so that the police can pull you up any time then. Because all they have to say is, oh, our computers are down.
Well, they're already talking about fitting black boxes to monitor your speed in all new cars so that they're going to automatically fine you.
Yeah.
If they can work out through the 5G system that if they haven't already done, if they can work out that as soon as you go above that speed limit, it registers as a debit straight away and comes straight out of your account.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about this if you don't stand up and do something to stop it? But you've got the people say, well, I've done nothing wrong. I've got nothing to hide. Again, we've done all this. I was just following orders. We've been here.
Yeah.
We've been here, people. There's nothing new under the sun.
It's a vicious circle that crops around every so often. I don't know how many years, mate, because obviously the last lot was the Nazis. That we're coming into where everything looks like Nazis on my television and Facebook screen now at the minute.
Again, though, it's easy to say the Nazis come round. We don't talk about the horrors what Stalin did. We don't talk about the horrors that Mao did or the horrors that Churchill did. We're always blinkered by being given something. And all I can say, Cole, is that history's not what I thought it was. I've learned so much new stuff that it changes aspects of your life that people say, well, I'm not interested in that. It doesn't affect my life. It should affect your life because there's some kind of a narrative, even though me and Jason knows that there's no agenda being pushed from any angles whatsoever for anything. There's some narrative that has come through that education system that is from the Nazis, that the EU is an extension of what the Nazis wanted. These are all policies that everybody involved in that was all working to the same ends. When people realize that the conspiracy is that big, then they'll have to say, there's something we need to do or we're going under.
Well, you're right. I mean, the atrocities that Stalin did, I mean, he did worse than what Hitler and Churchill did both together.
Eisenhower as well, you know, the POW camps, they were...
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, they've wiped billions of people off the planet. And it still hasn't made an impact. But I think what hits it home with me about the Second World Wars and First World War was when I found out that America's General Ford produced both all the vehicles for both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't rock your boat, then it's all like, hang on a minute. How can he supply? Why don't he just stop supplying them, and then that's it? The war's over. Because
Prescott Bush oil selling oil to them. So you know these people got Prescott Bush actually got done for dealing with the Enemy Act.
Yeah,
and they had all his assets took off, and then after the war, he's given them all back. That produces two presidents that set a foundation that has been ramped up now in the last 20 years that has changed things on a worldwide scale, and people are still stuck in watching EastEnders and working hard because that's the rat race. That's what we're taught.
Right, we're in the 21st century now. We shouldn't be relying, and I know this for a fact, that since the windmills have been put up, it's about over 80-85% of our energy now is supplied by wind. It's actually it's done properly, and they're not giving out the right figures. They're turning around and saying, "Oh no, we still need coal, we still need oil." It's all BS. We are in the 21st century now. Each house should be self-sufficient now, but unfortunately, the councils, etc., they get X amount of money from per household, so that's why they're not going to give up their little gravy train that's trickling in.
Money that doesn't exist, isn't it amazing?
Yeah. I mean, that's on Bransholm alone, 4,000 houses. There's 10 districts in Hull, roughly. That's 40,000 houses. Let's say they get 10% of the gas and 10% of the electric, all directly to your local council. So that's just direct to Hull council. But we shouldn't need this. We don't need
40 grand on average per household council tax, £1,000 a piece a year.
Yeah.
So
this is going to blow your mind. I tell you, you're right. You start adding this up. You've got £100 a week rent.
Yeah.
This is multiplied by 40, so that's 400,000, isn't it? Yeah, about 400,000. This is Hull alone. Then you've got £50-60 a week council tax-ish, depending on where you live. So minimum's about 50 quid. So there's another £200,000. So there's 600 grand. Then we've got, so that's rent, council tax. Then we've got, when we're going to work, your national insurance, your tax, etc., etc. Then when we go to when you start sitting down and work it out, every council gets millions and millions of pounds off us every year.
Exactly.
And we're still not self-sufficient.
That is because instead of working for us, they've put us in that debtor's position. So we are the customers. They are treating us as businesses.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. And the thing is, I say to people, look, if you look at your monthly income and then work this out, every month, gas, water, electric, council tax, if I took all those away, how much would it say? People say, oh, maybe £300 a month. I said, well, that could be a mortgage or half a mortgage, couldn't it? Would it help you out that a month? Yeah, of course it would. I went, well, you're not liable to pay for them because these companies that come to you and say you owe us, they actually work for you, but you don't know what position to be able to stand in.
Yeah.
This is where people are at now for learning this stuff. We know where we should be. So once we stand under that, Colin, that's where you get your power, because they've physically then got to take hold of you and say, no, we own you. That is going to be a big move for them to do. But when they're aiming and pushing things towards a civil war, and you've got Pied Pipers who are whipping stuff up left, right, and centre, creating all kinds of division, when everybody wants the same thing, they just don't know. They need something to follow. They need to work it out and then say, well, what can I do in it? Don't just blindly follow people.
Well, like I've said before now, every time you get a letter from Water Board, electric or gas, what do they send you? They send you a bank gyro credit.
Yep.
So if they're sending you a bank gyro credit, what's that say?
It depends. Well, in my experience, there's 2 gyro credits. They call them bank gyros for both, but one already has value and one needs value attaching. The 2 instruments are quite clear in that. There's a debate going on about the bank gyros, but we'll see where this goes. But the joint gyro is quite clear. I transfer that back to my agent. They can then settle my account that they run on my behalf as creditor. It's too easy to complicate it. So they say, hey, you owe us this money because we've got to tell them revenue. But if we give you this and you give it us back, we'll call it quits. That's how simple it should be. But because we've started to learn that and they don't want to give it up, because again, British Gas made 2.3 billion in 2012. Yeah. That is because they are stealing your equity. They are not meant to make that profit. In fact, it should be nationalised. All this should be, and it could be very easily. But people are so easily swayed towards, oh, well, that's communism, or oh, that's socialism. No, we've got to look for something that's a bit of good from everything. Everybody should have everything and play their part into bringing a community instead of all this forced, pushed division. It's bullshit. It's time to grow up and take some responsibility.
Yeah, we've got so many people out there that think, oh, you should work. And when you turn around and say, okay, why should I work? Well, because you have to.
Because the economy will collapse if you don't.
Yeah. So, but you're not working now. What's happened to the economy? Nothing. Yeah, but if you carry on, like everything's a scare tactic, isn't it? Everything. I remembered. When I was in dentist, look round, the notice board, it was on about fluoride. Right, what's fluoride?
Around some tech issues here, Jason.
What's fluoride?
Yes, sorry. I think we just lost you a little bit there, Colin. I don't know what it is, whether it's your internet or my internet, or I don't think it could be Webby's. But if people are hearing me, then it's probably not mine. So, are you? How's it going now? Can we hear you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I've got you, Colin.
Yeah, you there, mate. Go back to being in the dentist. Fluoride.
No, looks like we've lost him again.
Gone again, hasn't he?
Yeah. Right. So what's happening?
Well, we seem to have got a bit of a problem with your connection. I don't think we're having problems with myself and Webby, so it's probably your connection. Have you got probably a bunch of teenagers in the house that are using up all your bandwidth or anything, or is it just Kingston upon Hull is a bit of an internet black spot? I don't know. Or maybe someone's just trying to silence you. There we go. I can see you again. Are you there?
Yeah. Have I come through?
Keep talking.
I'm so wonderful, I upset myself.
Right, go back to the dentist. Fluoride.
Right. So again, the dentist, what is fluoride? Fluoride is a poison. So on this note, it's saying, when you've got a burn, make sure you've got fluoride. Make sure the burn's. And I said to the woman on the reception, I said, telling people to put poison, are we still up and running? Are we all right?
Yep, we're still going.
Right. So I'm saying to the woman on the desk, you're telling people to basically poison the kids. Because if it was like that, the government wouldn't do it, would they? And I'm like, you're missing the point.
Government wouldn't do it to its own people. I've heard it so many times. The government wouldn't do it to its own people.
They wouldn't do it. Why would they do it? What's fluoride, love? It's a poison. No, not in small amounts. It isn't.
So why does it say that if you were on toothpaste with fluoride in it, why does it say that if you swallow it, then seek medical advice?
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? But these people are.
It's bonkers though, because if you were looking after somebody's kids and you said, oh, hey, I've given them the tea, I put a bit of rat poison on it, they'd go mad at you.
Oh yeah.
I know it's a different type of fluoride, but it's the same. Well, it's only a bit of poison. What do you mean it's only a bit of hydrofluorosilicic acid? Well, it's only point something of something parts per million. Well, it's something that's not good for you. So why would you want a little bit? I mean, when I found out that all my fillings have been poisoning me all these years, that's quite scary that these are promoted and they are given out as the cheapest form. So therefore, everybody is driven to have these. It's the same when you get the 2-for-1s in the supermarkets. You see the same people picking these foods up every week because the scrimping and the saving. People going on this universal credit can't even do that now. They're going to food banks. You've got MPs coming out and saying, well, it's a good job there's food banks. That's all I can say. You've got Conservative MPs being chased away from food banks when they turn up for photo opportunities. This is going to drive people to a point of chaos. That's what they want, because out of chaos, we know what they want to create. But people it's so easy to see, Colin, they're not hiding anything anymore. If you I don't know if you or Jason caught Macron's speech when he come back, but he basically, he said, well, we'll tweak this and tweak that, but he's basically said, fuck you, we'll do this, this and this. And, they're stopping short of saying, let them eat cake.
Yeah. the Gould MP did it years ago when there was on first food banks coming out and they was interviewing him on Look North. And he turned around and he said, oh, they said, it's pretty bad, having food banks in it. Oh, no, at least we've got them. Isn't that a good idea? I'm like, hang on, why don't you come round to my house and say that? You won't, because, you get a piece of tubby fur over your head. Because how can anything where people are that worried, the cat eat their houses, I mean, this is why they tried selling all the council houses years ago, giving them away, virtually giving them away at £1,000 and £2,000 for a council house, because what they wanted to do was, once them people are in a predicament where they've got a mortgage, they have to carry on working, and if they're not working, we can have that equity. That's all it's about, is sodding equity.
Yes, of course it is. It's about siphoning the equity and leaving the people with the debt. The trouble is, we don't know how we are consenting for them to do that, because they're doing nothing illegal, because they're writing this for themselves. The factor is, in all the legislation that they write to make it legal, there is remedy. It was like the same about the negotiable instruments. In the Consumer Credit Act, Section 123 tells you when this instrument, why they don't accept it. And then you get to where the remedy is, which says none of this applies to a non-commercial agreement, which tells you everything is in commerce up to that point. And if it's not commerce, none of that applies. We accept this, because I understand transferring by that endorsement is how the system accepts that. These people have had it far too easy for far too long.
These words we're mentioning, commerce, remedy, all stuff like that, it's new words to people. It's in new words. That's the problem. These words have been about for years and years. But the problem is, these people don't understand what commerce is. They don't understand what common law is. They don't understand that common law is the highest court in the land. There is no higher. Nothing.
It's scary, Colin, that millions of people were willing. I mean, thank fuck we did have this, at least we want the fuck out of Europe. We didn't vote. Nobody voted for a deal. They voted to leave. That was it. Now the magic trick is the smoke and mirrors of, well, we're still negotiating a deal. We never said deal. We said get the fuck out, leave them to it. That's what people said. But there's millions of people Colin, who was going to allow us to go into Europe and willingly give away common law.
Yeah.
Willingly.
Yeah, because then that gives them more
What's your mind that?
rights. That gives them more rights under the statute and acts.
Well, it's all commerce then. All. You'll never be treated as a man. That's what you just said. Please never ever treat me as a man. Please treat me as your property and your cattle. That is absolute bonkers to me.
Suicide, mate.
It is. It's absolutely bonkers that you would do that.
All that happens is that they now, like I was saying earlier, what was I telling? Somebody. Yeah, well, like I was saying over an hour ago, you have to FOI. If you ring your council up now, it might not be yours yet, but it'll come in. You have to put in an FOI to ask who the housing manager is now. Now, when you sort of start digging and you start talking to people and in the council, you're saying, why do I have to do this? Well, it's for security reasons. What security? You can ask me when I ring you up and I've got a valid question to ask. The first thing you'll do is put me through a load of security questions. I don't know who the hell you are. Yeah, I have to answer 20 or 30 questions to satisfy your security. Yet, if I ask you a question, I can't get that answered. And that's always going to be the case now because these councils, like you said, it's smoke and mirrors. They don't want people asking them questions. We are not entitled to ask them questions.
I can't attend my council meetings. If you start asking questions, you get thrown out.
I'm blocked. Yeah, I'm blocked. I'm blocked from residents' meetings. I've said this before. How can I be blocked from a residents' meeting? I'm a resident, for Christ's sake.
Well, there's another language thing. Resident. My God, there's no right straight away being a resident. You don't own anything. You reside. You're not an owner.
Nope.
Straight away, your language actually just shatters everything. The language you use takes all your rights away, gives it to them. And you're doing it by consent, and they know that. And they snicker and laugh behind their hands because you're using their language and they say they don't know what it means. And then when you go in there, because we knew what we were talking about, everybody who's been going in knew, coming from all different angles, the only thing they could do is what they did to you, free man of the land, no.
Yeah.
So they reduced everything to name calling. And when that annoyed enough people to get angry, then police would be called, security would be called. So, you can't carry on doing that because you're going to do it to enough people that enough people will rise up. You can see what's happened in Europe.
Thought so, wouldn't you? Yeah, when I was at court for my mate's council tax, because I wanted to see how things were. So it purposely made sure I didn't pay it, got the usual summons, told them to get stuff, usual stuff. Then they sent the letter out, come in. So we sat there outside the court, inside the court, in the galley type thing, whatever it is. Well, it's a ship in it, galley, in the waiting area. And he got approached, crikey, about 10 times off council staff. This is council staff approaching him every time of, look, if you pay this, we'll accept out this a week and all this and the other. No, we want to go into court. One actually turned around and said, well, you're in court now, look. No. This isn't a court. That's a court over there in that room. It took them over an hour to sort a room out for me and my mate to go in to argue the toss about council tax. So to see how everything was going about, again, at that point I was green. I was sort of like finding out how things was working.
Everybody learns as they go.
Yeah, sat there, so like getting approached by all these people, all these council officials, and all these council officials know they're breaking the law. Every single one of them that turned up on that day at that court knew that there was in the one in court. They pretended to be in court. They charged you for being in the court, but you didn't go to court.
Well, that's why they siphoned off from our abandoned funds. This is how they get their pay rises, because they are willing, and they are well compensated to make sure that they toe this party line, because they are confirmed and congratulated on everything with the fact that they are doing everything legal.
Yeah.
And this is what we've got to stop, because legal becomes criminal at some point. That line has been blurred for far too long.
Yeah.
Very, very clear now. If people want to keep consenting to being bummed every day of their life and leaving the children now to have this, then I don't know what else to say to those people, because I know I have to do what I have to do now, wherever it goes, because my daughter can't do this. My daughter wouldn't understand this.
Yeah,
I can't leave. I can't leave it like that. At least I. And again, I always accept. If it hadn't come and punched me in the face, kicked me in the balls, I may never have bothered. But
well, you wouldn't have done.
No, I'd have probably still been fast asleep, despite me still knowing 9/11 was an inside job, and Lee Harvey Oswald didn't shoot a president with 3 bullets and a magic one. I knew all that, but I still didn't understand how detailed this conspiracy is, because it's manufactured an entire false reality from history that we've been taught to how to think about things and to follow a that's life scenario. Everything's been programmed, and people do not think for themselves. And when you start to think for yourself, things unravel pretty quick.
Well, it's like I said to you before, it's you take our word for it. We don't have to show you proof. You just believe what we say. Simple as that. And you're like, no, that's not right. And if I need to, this is where people need to start realizing that when they need something, and no matter what, we're all in the same boat, man. You know, I mean, I've reached it.
Cameron told us that though, Colin. Did you not believe him?
Yeah, he's another lovely guy, isn't he? He's another one. It's just so diabolically stupid that, and like I said, I'm not a clever fella. I really are. You know, I mean, I'm excellent at maths, terrible at spelling, really good at maths and common sense. That's my pitfall. At the end of the day, I'm so like, people have got to start asking the questions.
That's the point, isn't it? You'd be acceptable, Colin, if you was good at maths and good at common sense, but didn't ask questions.
We've got we've got this asking questions. We've got a society today that's it seems to have had its morals conditioned out of it. So you've got no morality anymore. Kids are being sexualized. Kids are being encouraged to talk about to decide that they want to be this week. They want to be a fucking frog, you know. And if someone says to them, you know, that you're not a frog, you're a person, then that person gets into trouble. And this is where we've got where there's nothing moral. Everything's fake. You know, even now, half of women are fake and half of men are fake because they're just like pretending to be the other one, or they're pretending to be something right and slap bang in the middle that's got, I don't know what sort of genitals they've got. It don't fucking matter what it is. You can say you're a titan, or you're a giant, or you can do whatever you want. You know, it's just we've got all the reality has been taken out of life. The reality is you're right. The reality is you're a woman. That's reality. It's all been taken out. So now you can make anything into what appears to be a reality, but it isn't a reality. You know, people said the reality is there's transgender people. Suicide is I don't know, 40 times more likely amongst the transgender society. Well, that's more reason to treat it as a mental illness, because people are committing suicide. What do people with mental illness do? They sometimes commit suicide. It's nothing to do with the transgender and the supposed. And I don't even think most of the time it comes from transgender people. It comes from these do-gooders who just really want to dictate what people can and can't say and seem to, have nothing going on in their own life. So what they want to do is they want to try to restrict what other people can do in theirs. And the bigger the piece of shit you are, the higher you're going to climb in this pyramid. The bigger the more money you're going to earn, the more that you're prepared to sell your fellow human being out and do something that you know is damaging to them. The more you're capable of doing that, the higher you're going to go in this life, in this reality, in this system.
Yeah, psychopaths rise to the top in that hierarchy as well.
Well, they are, aren't they? We're run by psychopaths. At the end of the day, if anybody, I mean, I can only talk about Hull, obviously. What I've witnessed, what I've reported, I mean, don't forget, I've gone through the system, through their legal system, and reported every single thing that's gone wrong. And you just get to the end of it, and it's, oh, well, carry on. Just carry on. There's no right or wrong in their eyes. We all know what's right. We all know what's wrong. These people, I've said it before, I'll say it again and again and again. These people are our friends, they're our neighbours, they're our colleagues, they live in our areas, they live amongst us. And these people that are doing it are walking around saying, hello, Col, how are you? All right, mate, how's Andy? Yeah, fine. And going back to the place in the town centre or the government or whichever, like you said earlier, it's all smoke and mirrors. The EU rubbish, I don't even entertain it. I don't even bother with it. I don't even want to know about it anymore, because I know that is taken away from what's happening in my local council, and that's the biggest crux going.
Well, the thing is, Cole, when you say you don't get involved with the EU stuff, I know from speaking to you privately that you've got your finger on what is going on. But the factor is, you're right, because you can change something, because the very fact that you've spoken out, the very fact that you've raised one consciousness is that you've done something. That is it. And you can only affect your life and your community.
Yeah, I don't mean to say, right, I don't think about Brexit. What I mean to me, someone said to me, God, about 8 months ago, and is I actually classed him as a bit of a friend. He works for, oh God, that Brian Gerrish. Eddie, his name is.
Yeah.
And he's about 8 months ago, he's waffling stuff to me. And I'm saying about this Brian Gerrish not doing what he's supposed to do. And he said he was going to come to Hull and was going to have a talk together. And then all of a sudden, I gets dropped from the talk, and this talk went ahead, and it was this Eddie turned around to me and said, Colin, it's not all about you. So I'm like, well, I know it's not all about me. I said, at the end of the day, I'm on about me. I'm on about my area. But on the same score, he then went on, well, look, mate, we're all worried. Well, what are you worried about? Well, I'm worried about the nuclear weapons that India's got and they're going to be using. So I said, you what? Well, India's going to be using the nuclear weapons soon. I said, you're talking crap. There's no such thing as nuclear sodding weapons. I said, at the end of the day, if that was going to happen, it'd bloody happen. I'm not going to worry about it. My next door neighbour ain't going to frigging worry about it. My street won't worry about it.
Mate, they don't worry that the gas is free. They're not interested in knowing that. And so, you know, the fact is, I get where you're going with the bit about the nuclear weapons, but people will never ever get to that yet. So there's no point me talking to my community about things like nuclear weapons
everything, when you start mentioning stuff, something else will always crop in. This is why I won't, like I said, when I said I don't entertain Brexit and I won't listen to it, because I know that at the end of the day, I haven't even sorted out whole council yet, and it's been 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I mean. You've got to concentrate on where you're at. It'd be like there'd be no point Jason concentrating on where I live. He needs to concentrate on where he lives.
Yeah.
But that's why we need everybody, and I always say we need everybody from all these angles. I physically cannot go to a fracking site, lie down for 3 days, handcuffed to another bloke or a woman to stop people poisoning our water table. So thank God that there's people that can and will and go and do that to highlight what is going on. That's what we've needed. You've got to do that. You're one of the champions to lead that in your area, and that is why you came over the flag, because you're raising pertinent questions. A lot of people won't be ready for you to wake up and listen to you until they start coming for you. And then you've got the Martin Niemöller story again, where nobody said anything, and then by the time they came for him, there was nobody left.
Yeah.
So again, it's history.
That's what the
history will stop this.
Yeah. What their way of thinking is this. What'll happen is 2 things. We'll ignore them, and 2 things will happen. 1, they'll either forget, or 2, they'll die. End of problem. And that's how they think. And that's how they seriously think.
And they're making sure we're at least going to be very ill for a long period of time before we die, or the very best they can do.
Or,
I mean, or
is all of a sudden committed suicide.
Yeah, well, that's coming as well. I mean, you've got, I think is it the Isle of Guernsey, where they've already just opened an assisted suicide centre that you can apply for and jump all through these hoops.
Yeah.
It's weird that everything is being engineered towards this death cultish type society behaviour.
We are, like you said, well, my God, your name's got out me flipping. Oh man, when he said about the people that are turning around and saying, "Oh, today I want to be a frog."
Mm-hmm.
He'll be. Oh, do you know something? Today I want to kill myself. Right, off you go. There you go. Done and dusted. No messing about. On you go. And that's what'll be next. It'll be, well, yeah, we've got to help these people that want to kill themselves ASAP. I mean, some people might want to, you know. I mean, I don't know what anybody thinks today, tomorrow, the next day. You know,
I think that's the problem, though. People don't know what they think. We've been taught what to think.
No.
The case is, when you find something out that should not be able to be done and they do it, that causes you then to either completely ignore everything that you've just discovered for the first time in your life. You've actually read and understood, not thought, not believed, gone, wow, I know this. This is actually, it's very clear.
Yeah.
And then you see what they are willing to do to make sure that kind of a truth does not get out. Wow. That changes lives, and people do not like their lives to be changed. So many people fight to keep this system and stay exactly where they are because it's what they know. They just, people can't believe that humanity or man could be better. We've been taught we've got to always fight because it's human nature. Who told us all this?
We've just been conned.
Yes, we have been. From cradle to grave, we've been conned. Our parents were conned. They put us into the con, and they just hope that, they've had a good run at it, Cole, because my mum and dad wouldn't have been able to find out this information because they'd have had to go to like libraries and resources for hard copies, and that just would have been impossible. But you live in an age of information. Ignorance is a choice.
We do, and unfortunately, con goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Unfortunately,
where it stops, nobody knows, Paul.
We're just watching. You're listening to Raconteurs News and watching as well, I hope, in colour. It's the 11th of December 2018, and we've got about 6 minutes left before we have to say goodbye. I don't know if there's anybody on after us tonight. But if there is, if you can pop it in the chat room that there's anybody where everyone's going, because I know that the chat room, the people in the chat room like to assemble at various ones. In fact, I got involved myself last night on Cookie Monsters on channel as well. So yes, if there's anything on there, if someone could post it in the chat room, and then perhaps everyone can congregate in another chat room and. It's been really, really wild again in there tonight. In fact, Annie Logical, who was on a couple of weeks ago with us, is in there tonight. Good evening to you, Logical Annie. We've got about 5 minutes left, Colin. What are you going to do with this last 5 minutes? What's the message that you want to give, and you've got planned for coming up?
Well, my message is going to be exactly the same as last time, mate. All I'm going to carry on doing is exposing them. I'm going to keep at it, keep saying what they are, what they're doing, how they're doing things. Whether people listen or not, that's up to them. What do I plan for the future? Well, like anything, like with everything, I know. As I was talking today to a woman about things today, I'm still going to stand as a counsellor. I'm still going to literally get fiddled out every time. I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful night tonight. I'm still going to do all that, and I'm going to get on with my life. And that's going to be the main thing. I've been lucky. I'm let. Besides, when this lot first started happening to me, I mean, it took me 2 weeks to get over my first election result and what they've done to me. And that was 2 weeks solid of me racking my brain cell of thinking, well, hang on, what have they done this for? Why have they done this? And every question possible under the sun, what have I done wrong? I ain't done jack shit wrong. All I've done is expose them. All I've done is turn around to them and say, you're all corrupt, you're all this, that and the other, and that's a bit that they don't like. I was always getting told, Cole, you can't say that, you'll upset them. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. To me, at the end of the day, I pay their sodding wages. At the end of the day, these people should be serving, these people should be helping their community, and they're not doing anything except they preach that they're honest, they preach that they're honourable men and women, yet when you approach them, by God, they're completely the opposite. They're totally frauds. Every single one of them are frauds.
They're complicit in corporate manslaughter, whether they like it or not, with or without knowledge. They're complicit in corporate manslaughter with what is going on.
I'd say murder. I wouldn't say manslaughter. I'd say murder. It's far from manslaughter to me is where something's not done deliberately. No, this is all done deliberately. This is all done. I mean,
it's done legally though. That's why I'm saying it'll be manslaughter, because these people have not pulled a trigger. They've not stabbed anybody. This is how they hide behind everything. This is why we get the brunt of it. And until people have had enough, Cole. Yeah. And like I said, all you can do is just speak your truth. People who have ears will hear it. People who have eyes will see it. All the rest, wherever the cards may fall.
They don't care. And at the end of the day, good luck to them. I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody thinks that...
We're not here to convince anybody anymore. We're here to just tell people what the truth is. And this is what is happening. If you don't want to believe it, crack on with your bubble. See where we get.
Sooner or later, like you've said earlier, mate, like we've all said, sooner or later, something's going to go kaboom.
It can't help. You poke a bear long enough, it's going to turn around and give you a bite.
And at the end of the day, it will happen. It's just a case of when, and a case of when it does, to be stood at the front saying, all right, there's the first person want to go see. There's the first person want to hang. And it will be hang. It won't be, let's lock them away, because I'll be turning around saying, hang on a minute, that twat has done this for the last 5 years that I've known, yet he's been in council for 20 years.
Well,
So he's done this for 20 odd years.
Jason touched on it last night that, you know, we can see that this is building to an eruption, but nobody knows what's going to happen. And then, like Jason brought up about Ceausescu, nobody saw that coming, and then all of a sudden, him and his wife are swinging from a lamppost.
And it
So
will happen, because sooner or later, people are realising. I mean, God, I have been bleating on about for 6 years. Altogether, 10 years.
Yeah.
So, same bits and bobs, but for 6 years, I've been doing it politically. And for 6 years, all I've done is embarrass them. And all they can do is turn around to me and say,
Call your names and gag you.
yeah, you're a bad loser, you are. You lost your election. No, mate, I never lost my election. I got cheated out. And I don't mind losing, but I won't get fiddled. That's a different ball game. I'm giving you a right to do what you like, and I don't do that.
I suppose that's a good way to end the show, isn't it, that, Jason? That he doesn't mind, you don't mind losing, but you don't get fiddled.
Yeah, we'll get fiddled with. Even. Okay. Yeah. Well, that is it. We've got a minute over. Big thank you to Colin Worrall for joining us tonight. A very entertaining chat. I know that we're mostly Colin and Webby, but I enjoyed listening as well. The parts that I did listen, you know, because sometimes I sort of drift away, but that's just me. It's been brilliant. So thank you very much. Thanks to everyone who's been listening. Thanks to everyone in the chat room as well. It's been a vibrant, great chat room in there. Give us a little bit of a like if you don't mind. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Raconteurs News. And also Alternate Media, which is my own personal one. So if you want to subscribe to those, then please do that as well. But we shall be back next week on Monday and Tuesday for our last final shows of before Christmas. Well, we think so, but as Webby pointed out, with things as they are, there might be a few emergency broadcasts. So click the notifications thing as well. Then you'll get notified when we're on when we're live on air. So sometimes we might be doing some. There might be some anyway over. If anything serious happens, then we'll be here talking about it. There
has been a 7.1 magnitude earthquake at Antarctica, apparently.
Oh, right. Okay. An earthquake. And somebody put in the chat room as well, Google some shooting, a Strasbourg shooting now, apparently. So somebody's put that in. So that might be some breaking news.
I'm not sure if that's where they're claiming that the police have shot protesters.
Right. Okay. So yeah.
Usually, fun when stuff like that gets mentioned, earthquakes, floods, shootings. Usually, what's about to happen is something politically.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, mate.
Yeah, they don't want you looking there. They want you looking at that instead.
Yeah.
It's all sick. But on the same score, we still keep plodding on. We're here tomorrow. You know, touch wood, and keep doing what I'm doing. Keep exposing everything. Thanks for having us, boys. It's been well appreciated. And again, just keep spreading the word. That's all we can do, innit? Lovely dressing gown, love.
Keep speaking the truth, mate. That's all you can do.
Yeah, John was not dressing gown.
Terrible dressing gown. What the frigging hell was that? Oh, it's a onesie.
No, look, it's jobbers.
Oh my word! Put them away.
We're still alive, you know. All right, well, listen.
This show's going in a completely different direction. Do you realise?
My wife's exactly the same. I just got to like I say, I love her to bits, but you know, she's along the same principle. Doesn't care, gets them out anywhere.
We end up as a pay-per-view in a minute.
I wouldn't quite say that about my wife. Gets them out anyway, but you know.
Anyway,
I think on that note, we should. While we're talking about my wife, we should end. So thanks to everyone who's been watching, and we'll see you next week. Ta-ra a bit.